Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about Atoms, the latest habit tracking app of James Clear, of the best-selling author of Atomic Habits. And of course, we're going to talk about Ikigai. And then last but not least, we're going to compare all of this to the meditation market size. So Mark, are you ready to jump in? Let's go.
Hell yeah, I fucking get horny about this stuff. Talking about habits, habit tracking. Ooh, you got me going, my boy. Meditation, I'm getting there. Haven't done that in a while, really, but I like. All right, bro, what do you got for us today?
All right, so in general, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, James Clear launched his latest app, Atoms, actually with collaboration with Tiny, so Andrew Wilkinson. So for those who don't know, Andrew Wilkinson is a Canadian entrepreneur who basically started off, I think, with an agency, which was very, very profitable, a marketing agency, and then later on, from this profits, he started buying more and more smaller companies. And now he has a portfolio, and I think Tiny is now publicly traded. I think it's like for 600 million or something like this.
Yeah, it's in Canada traded. Yeah.
Doing very well. So it's very, very interesting to see that there are more and more companies partnering up with these, well, I say influencers in specific niches to bring out new products. So that's, I think, super, super interesting. There are other products. For example, I think, what's his name? Uberman brought out, I think he brought out some food. Uberman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was like a yogurt. Something he brought out some food, but Mark, you check it out while I can just keep dazzling about this. In general, guys, we checked it out. The app is super, super interesting. So for those who don't know, basically Atomic Habits, the book explains you how you can change habits, or create new ones. So basically, if for example you want to start flossing your teeth, or you want to get healthy or fit, it explains you very, very well how you can go and create these habits. So that's one of the things. And another thing is that, for example, if you have a bad habit, for example, smoking, you have to find the trigger. Once you have to find the trigger, you have to change it for a different behavior. But it's super, super interesting. Actually, we have a episode about this. So don't worry if you want to check it out. I think it's called something with habits. Anyways, coming back to this app, it has already over 3,000 reviews, and it costs like 16 euros a month. So,
Damn.
Which is really, really a lot.
Wait, is there a free tier?
I think you have the first month for free. I think the free tier is only if you want to track one habit. So you can track one habit itself. And then if you want to, but who owns you? Like, for example, I did it just for Spanish. I like the app itself because it also enables you, it always gives you feedback or tiny pieces of habits, of atomic habits. Or for example, today, just ask me hey, it takes commitment to reflect on your habits. Remember, every action you take, no matter how small, is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. And then just tiny things.
They got you on the quote, boy. They got you on the quote.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, you're fucking a sucker for that.
Yeah, that's cool, right? I think that's really, really interesting. But yeah, Mark, what are your thoughts on this? Is it
So I think there's a lot of habit tracker apps out there. A friend of ours, Victor, he uses also a habit tracker for 6, 7, 8 habits or something. So I think it's nothing new. I guess this is just the premium tier, making it fancy, giving you the fancy quotes. I think it's also kind of a way because this was a best-selling book and people are going to think that this is going to be so much better because this guy has his name on it. So it's just this stamp of approval. And it's cool. Honestly, I get
prices.
The appeal. Exactly.
Premium prices.
Premium pricing. I like it. I like it a lot. It's cool.
Each of our episodes.
First,
yeah, go ahead.
You asked about Uberman. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't find any products with Uberman. I mean, he did partner up for the jerky. Is that what you're talking about?
No. It was something else.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I've not seen any other products, or I
will check it out and talk about it later. The another thing is, Mark, do you know how big the market for habit tracking apps are? Guess.
Wait, are we
In
talking about dollars?
2022,
Or are we talking about dollars? Or are we talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Just give me a bro number.
I don't know, bro. 100 million.
Okay, it's 8.7 billion.
Damn.
And now by 2028, what's gonna be?
Well, this was this year or last year? When
This
was
was
this?
2022. This is like a statistic from 2022.
8 billion. Oof, man. If you ask that way, I don't know. It's gonna be 10, 12, 12.
I'm not gonna say anything yet because I want to give you a comparison and also why like because before like the last push was really like meditation apps, right? You have like Headspace. What are the other ones, Mark? Like there's so many like mindfulness. Yeah,
Mindfulness.
and they're all billion-dollar companies,
Insight
right?
timer.
Yeah, like so like they're making tons of money. And so for example, Mike, meditation apps in 2022 was the market size of 500 million, just like revenue in itself.
Half a
Mobile
billion.
meditation app. Yeah.
That is very, very niche. I thought they would be much bigger.
Well, I mean, I think that's at least what they're saying here on Statistica, which like kind of interesting. But the thing is, for me, is the growth by 2028, it will be 2.6 billion. Okay.
That's nice.
So for me, meditation in my mind was bigger than habit tracking. So this is like just for me the comparison. That was
100%.
way. I was thinking reverse because like we saw the big apps, like big companies, that just coming out of it, and that's why I'm also want to like think like that now the next push will these be habit tracking apps,
But honestly,
which can
it's
make
also
it.
our bias, right? It's just like we
Of
are
course,
used
it
to this,
is.
right? Yeah.
It is. But do you know any big habit tracking apps? Because I don't.
I don't even know a single one. I did it old school.
Yeah.
Wrote it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, all right, coming back. So the market by 2028 will be 18 or 19.6 billion, which is like a
more than double.
year-over-year growth of like 14%, something like this, which is insane. 14.4%. If you think about it, that's
if you
like
just grow with the market, you already fucking double as well.
yeah, it is insane. So also this brings me like back now to the point, just like how well is he priced, right? Because I think like he's charging a lot. So Adams, like the product itself, of course, he already has like his followers.
He has the
yeah,
brand.
he has the. Of course, everybody who loved his books, like, man, I will try it at least. Of course, I think they will have to go down.
I don't think so. I don't think so because
no,
I think there's a lot of people, especially these people that read this book, are probably business people, and for them, like $16 or something is not that much. If you actually succeed with the habit, it's priceless for them, right? Or at least they're willing to pay a higher price. I think it's a very, very smart move and cool. Honestly, if I was into that, if I had some more money, why not?
Also, for me, is like I think it's genius because, for example, as if you design a product, you want the product to be that people open it daily, right? So you have engagement each day. So it's like you always like, oh my god, I have to make it that people open the app. But whereas a habit tracker, it's basically a reminder. So you have push notifications always on because otherwise nowadays I don't have any notifications on from any app. But if it's a tracker, you want that notification, right? So basically you have already
so the point is it's very sticky. I think also another thing is for me, which well, first of all, yeah, you open it every day, you say that it's true. And but another thing is a streak, bro. Like I do Duolingo sometimes just to have the streak. Like imagine you're like that streak, I don't know, 300 already. 300 days. Bro, you're not gonna go to a different tracking app if it's better if your streak is at 300.
That is true.
That's just like you have so much. I mean, thereby they're building some kind of a moat, which I think is cool. I like this is super nice. I think that's going to be defensible business. Just because, yeah, I don't want to give up my streak, man. Hell no. I like it. It's nice.
No, it's true. Also, Mark, I found it. Uberman and Tiny Labs announced in January 25th their own Canadian yerba mate beverage. Matina. I see. Matina.
Matina, drink Matina.
So, and I think like, I want to like basically, okay, before what we've seen, well, for example, over the last few years, for example, The Rock brought out his tequila, right? Teremane, or all the other brands
Teramana,
like
yeah.
Teremana. So, and now what we see, like for example, these corporations, for example, Tiny helps, for example, people who are like niche, like for example, James Clear, expert in habit tracking, or now built this product together. Actually, the percentage is like 60% James Clear and 40% Tiny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know the
So
Uberman as well? What the
no,
percentage
Uberman,
is?
I sadly don't know what the partnership is, the exact deal, but I know it's for the app, which is like, think about it. You have like, you wrote a book, and now it's a time for all these niche experts like to like get basically like
Well, it's
tons
just a
of money
brand,
like this.
right? It's like the same as Kardashians did, but just audience. Like
Yeah,
anyone that
but
has a
like
big
for me,
audience, right?
yes, but I think now it's more time for because they are big in their niche, but they're
Yeah,
not
but
like worldwide
exactly. But I'm
famous.
saying in their niche, they monetize the
Yeah,
niche much better. It's
yeah.
also, which I find is interesting. This is another energy kind of drink. This energy focus, the same as Chris Williamson has. Like,
Hmm.
what's his Instagram handle again? No, not his podcast.
Modern Wisdom.
Modern Wisdom. He has also one of these kind of drinks.
Yeah,
Interesting, because like everyone
but
now, I guess it's a trend now to
you
build,
mean
instead of the old
Neutonic?
school energy drinks, go more natural.
Neutonic.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. But it for me, it's like cool to see from the sidelines that like more and more like this is happening left and right. So basically, first like it becomes clear that it's more and more important to build the audience, right? Build the audience, and then later on you can bring like just push your own product, because in the end, if you can push it like backward as much as possible, trying to monetize your audience,
Yeah.
you get a bit much bigger reward, right? So if you don't do any deals or stuff like this and push it back and back, then the ask is like give, 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 and then like ask or take, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think they're doing it very, very well. I mean, of course, James Clear, his book, like he's already charging. It's not a free product, but I think it's like very, very cool to see that. I'm more excited to see what like Tiny, so Andrew Wilkinson, will do over the next weeks, or actually months, because like think about it, in the last 3 months now they launched this, so it's really cool. And there could be big companies, like think about it. So the one is just like talk about it, and then like Andrew Wilkinson and Tiny will just basically take care of the app, which is really, really cool. Like just like that gets me excited to see like how big can this become, because an app maintenance is not that expensive. So yeah.
No, 100%. I like it. It's cool. Good find, bro. Good find. Side note:
All right.
Tiny went down market cap, by the way.
Yeah. How much
But
was it right now?
well, in the last 6 months, it went down by 26%. But that doesn't
Interesting.
mean anything. Well,
No,
it could mean, but I'm saying not necessarily the biggest indicator.
that's true.
All right. I think that's it, man.
No. We're not done yet. We still have the
Oh.
Ikigai, bro. We still got the Ikigai.
Oh,
All right, Mark,
man.
tell me about the Ikigai. What is it? What is the concept?
Well, the Ikigai is a Japanese concept, but you mentioned to me there's a book written by not a Japanese person, someone who went to Japan. How about you tell us
Exactly.
about this story?
So basically, it's a Spaniard who went to Japan to live there, learn about the culture, and then wrote the book about the Ikigai. So that's a short version, to be honest. But I want to talk more about not the history of this guy who wrote like this like book, who's like selling millions, but more about what is Ikigai itself, right? Because I think the concept itself is very, very interesting. Um, and basically, Ikigai, think of a diagram, right?
Venn
Where you
diagram.
have Venn diagram where you have four circles, and like top, left, right, bottom, and where they all like match in the middle. That's like the
intersection,
zone of
yeah.
genius, or also Ikigai, right? And then you have like four categories. So, for example, what do you love doing? Then on the right, it's like what the world needs. Then the other one's what you can get paid for, and then what are you good at? Okay. And then, of course, then you have like, for example, what you're good at and what you love. That's your passion. Okay. That's like, but it's still not Ikigai because it's still
Talk
missing.
about the intersections now. The intersection
Exactly. The intersections where the circle overlap.
Exactly.
So when, like, for example, only what you love and what the world needs overlap, it's a mission. it's cool, but it's still not the zone of genius, because it's not necessarily doesn't mean you're doing what you're good at. Same with, like, for example, what you can get paid for and what you're good at. Yeah, that might be your profession. Still, it's not what you love, nor what the world potentially needs. And basically, when all of these four meet, that's Ikigai. Okay, that's a zone of genius, which is, I think, is super super interesting. But I want to put my little spin on it, because I want to say that nowadays, I think more and more, you have the opportunity to get into like the middle, into the Ikigai, like in the field of Ikigai, because like one of the biggest problems in the past is like what you can get paid for. Okay, and my thought is, now, thanks to the internet, and like the you get automatically access to so many people that basically this zone, like it just enables you to get, for example, who would have thought 10, or let's say 20 years ago, that people make money on YouTube? Okay, or like 10 years, or 10, 15 years ago, right? Shortly after YouTube was born. Now it's like one of the most like jobs that people want to, like, they, when you ask kids nowadays, they're like, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be an influencer, right, on social media. They don't want to be a rock star anymore. So the same is like, because with YouTube you get, with the internet in general, you get directly access to millions, if not billions, of people, and that way it's easier to find your tribe. So for example, very niche, for example, before the internet, whatever, it was very very small, right? So you can, like, okay, you have your bunch of friends, you can, but like now you can collect with millions of people who have the same
All right.
like
So you
interest.
argue that the Ikigai, like finding the Ikigai, so they intersect between what you love, what you're good at, and what you paid for, and what the world needs, is much fast. It's better now.
My argument is it's definitely easier. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying, because like the
Yeah, no,
what you
it's
can be
easier.
paid
All
for
right.
is definitely making
I
making it
think
easier.
I
Yeah,
think that yes, what you can get paid for has increased. I mean, there's people paying for like pictures of feet, so
that's
I
true.
think 100% it has increased. But on the other hand, because it's the world's interconnected, good is relative to other people. What you're good at is going to be slow, like it's going to be much smaller, and thereby maybe the intersection might be harder to find as well. Because how many people are actually still taking the time to be really good at something much better than other people? Because right at the end of the day, the Ikigai, you need to have an intersection between all four of them, and also what the world
Yeah,
needs. As there's more competition, is there still a need for this, right? So I think you're right. There's much more you can get paid for, and there's, I think, more and weirder or more niche things that you love, or like, let's say,
yeah,
passions. But I think it's like a harder level now. The competition is higher. What you are good at is going to be a much smaller portion than before, and what the world needs.
yeah,
So I think yeah, it could be argued for Ikigai is it's easier to find. I think also awareness, right? Like that these kind of concepts exist. Habit tracking might also help you improve at something, which I think is cool. And I think Ikigai, more and more people should be going in that direction, because there's so many people that are unhappy with their job.
but also at the same time, if you have too much, it's like going to the supermarket, right? You go in a supermarket, nowadays you have so many options that you're overwhelmed and don't know which product you actually should
Yeah.
buy. So back in the day, when there was only like two kinds of soap, like either the expensive or the cheap one, you just like buy whatever one of the two, right? So it might be the same with, like, because you have now so many options that you can like go for, that might confuse people. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, just follow. I mean, now it goes back to the expression like follow your passion. Because I mean, yes, it sounds weird and it's just like the very like stereotypical like answer, but in the end, it's like, if you follow your passion, it's very very likely that there are a lot of other people who follow the same passion, and you can get paid for this, right, if you're good enough, right? So if the other ones work, if the other ones are fine, the answers for that, you won't have a problem to find like the last one. I mean, like for me, that the world needs, it's all, I think, like a definition, because like, what is the definition of this? It's like the best for the world, or is it something that other people yearn for, right? So this is like a definition that,
I think that's the definition. What the world needs is just like people want this stuff. It's like,
yeah,
does the world really need OnlyFans? Probably not. but people fucking use this shit a lot.
Yeah, true. Get paid a lot. Make a lot of
Exactly.
money for sure. But yeah,
Hell
I think
yeah.
that was 2 cents on my topic. All right, Mark. But before we close this episode, I want to remind everybody of the twins agreement. It's not the gentleman's agreement, it's a twins agreement. So, guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends. And of course, go on YouTube, press subscribe
like.
there, press the like, subscribe, and of course, catch you next episode. Peace.